Hi, Rigsters here, back with another episode of IL-2 Sturmovik. I wanted to share today something I learned with the FW-190s and BF-109s on taxiing. Now, I wanted people to say for the FW-190 in particular, you pull back the stick to lock the tail when taxiing on the ground. That is correct, but I also found through the game manual, the specifications page in game before you spawn in, that there was a hint about propeller pitch. So in this video, I'm gonna quickly show you how you can use this for taxiing and where you can practice. So to find this, you go into settings, key mapping, plane engine controls, and you scroll down to switch propellers, pitch control mode, manual/auto. By default, it is right shift plus P. So that means you hit and hold right shift P once, and then you're in manual mode. Now what they recommend in the game specifications page, which I'll show you once I get to that, is that instead of having the propeller automatically adjusting when you increase the throttle on the 190 and 109, you can do this on both of those planes for Germany. You can make it more responsive and not require as much input, so you're not swinging around like a ping pong ball, crashing and spinning all over the place. To lower pitch by default, you hold down left alt B. For low pitch, which is what you want for on the ground, you want to hold down left alt V. You want to reduce that from 100% to say like 10% or less, depending on the situation. Now the drawback to doing that is you want to make sure you remember when you line up for the takeoff to shift it back to automatic mode, because even though you can fiddle with the high pitch and low pitch of the propeller, it is very task intensive. I mean, you can do it, but it's better just to do auto unless if you really need to. So with that, you can change it just like any other key binding. And now I'll show you where you can practice online, at least, of a good area to practice taxiing. Alright, so when you go into multiplayer, you click right here, and you click on dogfight. There is a good server called Combat Box Training and Dogfight where you can practice taxiing in a relatively safe environment. You just click join server and I'll see you there. Okay, so now we're in the Combat Box Training server. What you want to do is go towards the bottom left corner for practicing taxi, and left click on this icon right here at sector 2006. And to demonstrate this pitch controllability, I will take the 190. Any one of the variants will do. You may need, for Steam Edition Battle of Golden Plate DLC, to get some of the 190s. The D9 on Steam is a collector's plane, but if you go on IL-2's website, which I'll provide a link down in the description below, it may become included if you buy their premium version on their site, just like they did with the other DLCs. So to demonstrate this with the Golden Plate DLC, I'll use the A5, and I'll show you where I found that information. So you see right here there's mission, there's specification right here, and then there's a whole list of like what the plane is capable of doing, pilot notes and recommended engine power and all that. You want to scroll down here, this line right here, to reduce swinging during taxi due to prop wash. The power pitch should be switched to manual and be reduced to minimum. So what you want to do, of course, as always, is close the canopy and start the engine up. So that way you can see this in action, and I'll zoom in on the cockpit here so you can see where this is. Just have to wait for the sequence to initiate. Okay, now that the engine is started, if you maneuver with the mouse or camera controls of whatever preference you have, you see near this leader that says 1, 2, and 3, and there's this clockwork and dial next to it, directly to the right. This is the propeller pitch indicator. Now, why would you want to care about that? Well, when you hit right shift P, you'll see in technical chat say engine manual propeller pitch. Now, since it's only one engine, this is not a problem. If you have more than one, then it could be a problem. Left Alt V and B. So with Left Alt B, don't worry about the outlet cutter thing. That is a binding issue. If you hold down B here, though, you'll see this clock spinning. And then, if you go too high, of course, you cut out the engine and it goes kaboom. So B, you can increase the propeller pitch, but if you do that too much on the ground, you'll stall out the engine. When you lower it with V, they recommend at minimum. So, let me show outside real quick here. This is with manual pitch. Now when you start throttling up on this practice taxiway, it takes a lot more throttle, or a lot less throttle to move. But this is much easier to control as I'm using the F2 view, which you won't have in a lot of servers on multiplayer, but this is just to demonstrate and show you visually how this works. See how much more controllable that is? And then you pull back the stick, of course, which everyone says, which locks the tail wheel. Now when I increase the throttle while holding back the stick, it should be going straight. Ah, there we go. You have to be very gentle with the throttle in these planes, because if you go too fast, you'll start doing Tokyo drifts, and otherwise known as ground looping. And using the toe brakes, which I have blind to my joystick, helps it keep it straight. Now let me show you the difference once I pull it to stop here and switch to automatic mode with right shift P. Now it's an automatic. This is where the problem happens with a lot of people, and what I was struggled with for so long was just have it released and just show you. Look at how much more throttle I have to put in just to get it to move. If I do that, look, this is ground looping with the automatic propeller on the ground. So if I hit right shift P and do left alt V, make sure it's at 0. Now, when I put the throttle, it is so much more controllable. I mean, this was a godsend figuring this out in the specification page, and I just wanted to share it with you all, just to help you guys be able to better taxi the 109s in particular, or the 190s in particular. The 109s don't seem to have as much of a problem with this, but I would recommend looking at the specifications to see if it suggests to do so. At the very least, it will make it much more controllable on the ground. Just make sure that when you're ready for takeoff, you hit left shift P to go back to automatic propeller pitch so you don't blow up the engine, which would be really a bad experience. Wrap up this video here. I do have a Ko-Fi page with a goal of getting a better flight stick so I could better do this kind of content. But not just that, it also helps the channel out. I hope you enjoyed this video, and hope this helps the taxi better, the 190s in particular. But it may also help the 109s and any other plane that has this functionality. This is Rigsters Journey, signing off.